Good morning to the halftime community. Oh man, what a day. It's been a hell of a week, Coach.
Yes, sir.
How's your week been?
My week has been pretty fine and dandy. It's crazy that we're already Saturday. I feel like this week flew by. I felt like last week dragged to get to the weekend.
Yeah.
And then when the weekend came, it just flew by. But this week went by relatively quickly, and here we are Saturday morning recording this podcast to our beloved halftime community. It's nice to be here. How about you, Coach? How was your week, and how are you feeling?
My week was pretty smooth. Not too much going on outside of I lost a family member. So that was a little bit, was a little bit of shocking news. So next week we'll be discussing what we'll be doing for the show because I may or may not be in town.
Okay.
But I'll let you know, and we'll definitely let the halftime community know if there will be a show next week. But other than that, it was a pretty solid week. Got to spend time with family and friends and things of that nature, and I was really looking forward to this podcast, really looking to this show today. This is season 2, episode 51.
Yes, sir.
And excited to kind of talk about some of the things that we got going on today. So without further ado, first and foremost, peace, blessings, and prosperity to the halftime community and those that's listening. And let's get into our show, Coach. First thing we're doing today is part of the halftime conversations. As always, we're going to start off with a week 3 recap of the NFL. So we had some pretty good games, some that were not as shocking as we thought, but pretty even. If we can get a little bit of that graphic just to kind of go through some of the games on our list. So we had Minnesota and Cincinnati. That was pretty much a given. Carson Wentz came in there and did pretty much what I thought he was going to do against Cincinnati without Joe Burrow. And Carson Wentz didn't look bad. I don't know if Minnesota is going to go back to J.J. McCarthy, so that's going to be the question for the rest of the season. But it seems like Kevin O'Connell is the quarterback whisperer.
Or the ginger whisperer.
So Minnesota ended up winning that game. Jacksonville took care of Houston. Houston is looking like they got some problems for real.
Absolutely.
I don't know exactly what they need to fix. I don't know if it's just a C.J. Stroud thing. I know they put out a graphic kind of, messing with C.J. Stroud a little bit over the weekend, and they said, like, ever since he had that conversation with Caleb, his stats have went down.
Yeah.
It went down the drain. Now, it's not too bad. Like, it's not like he's just throwing interceptions crazy.
Right, yeah.
But it's not on par with where he was prior to that game and that engagement. And then we have the Colts. You predicted, as you said, that they were going to keep rolling, and they did, 41-20 to Tennessee. I wasn't necessarily shocked or surprised by that, but are the Colts serious? I guess is a question we're still trying to figure out, and I guess during the rest of the season we're going to find out. I'm not necessarily a believer just yet, but starting off 3-0 for the first time in 8-10 years or something like that. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
So I know Indianapolis fans are happy about that, but we'll see how long Danny Dimes and company can keep that going. Any other shockers from you, Coach? The one shocker to me was the way the Panthers spanked on the Falcons. That I didn't see coming. And then Michael Penis got benched.
Yeah, I mean, I said it last week. Like, I think until the Atlanta Falcons get out of their minds that running every single play out of the pistol is not effective, they're going to keep losing football games.
Yeah.
And, I think they play Washington this upcoming week. Jaden Daniels is still out. Terry McLaurin is out for that game as well. So this is a chance for Atlanta to come and win one of those kind of bigger games. But again, I mean, I'm just not that much of a believer in that pistol offense that they run. I don't think it necessarily fits what Michael Penix is able to do. They need to change things fast, or this is going to really quickly start going downhill. So yeah, I mean, that was a big surprise for me. Of course, Cleveland beating Green Bay was a big one.
That was a huge surprise.
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
I mean, the Green Bay defense did what Green Bay defense does, but their offense is really what put them off. And these are the conversations that I think have been going around Jordan Love for a while, is like, when he's great, he's great.
But when
can
he's
he
not, yeah.
he's not. You know, like, can he consistently put up this type of play every single week?
Yep.
The answer is no for now. Like, we've seen on multiple occasions that he cannot do this week in, week out. So
Nope.
they need to start chaining some wins together. Of course, there's no doubt in what they can still do. I know Super Bowl hopes are definitely and aspirations are definitely still in the conversation, but
Yeah.
definitely a little worrisome loss there. Other than that, nothing really too big.
I was gonna say the Bucks and Jets game. Baker is proving that he's a comeback kid now.
He's a comeback kid. Not
Yeah.
only that, but also
He's a comeback kid now.
Emeka Egbuka came to the league ready to ball, man.
Yeah.
That kid does not look like a rookie. I'm pretty sure he's tied for first in the NFL for touchdown receptions.
Yeah.
Just a red zone threat. Like the guy gets open when you need him to. So,
and it's San Francisco pulling out a close one against Arizona. I mean, Kyle Shanahan is another guy out there who just seems to make it work, seems to make it, just figures it out. I mean, there was at one point when I thought that his coaching career was coming to an end in San Francisco, that he was on the hot seat, but somehow, some way, he's just managing to stay afloat. It's like he's becoming the West Coast version of Mike Tomlin. You know what I mean? Like, he just can find that way to be consistent, find that way to get you some wins, maintain you being at least a 500 or a little bit better or a little bit under type of football organization. And I guess in some capacity, you can't really just run away from a coach like that. There is something to be said about consistency, right? We're just talking about Jordan Love. There is something to be said about somebody that can be consistent and be a stabilizing force within your organization. And it seems like Kyle Shanahan has a full grasp on how to make sure that his football team can always compete no matter what injuries they have, no matter what deficiencies they have. I mean, they just lost. Didn't they just lose a defensive end or something like that for the season? Oh, no, that was the Chargers.
Yeah.
The Chargers lost the defense. But yeah, so I mean, but they still have Christian McCaffrey that is still a little shaky and things like that. So I mean, he's just managing to make sure that the San Francisco 49ers stay within it and stay locked in. And it's something that is really exemplary and something that people should really talk about as far as him being one of the best coaches in the NFL right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And last but not least, of course, we got to talk about our Chicago Bears. They won 31-14 against the Dallas Cowboys at home. Was an exciting game, of course, for I think Bears fans there and in attendance and also watching. A lot of people I think could agree it was a must-win game for the Chicago Bears if they wanted anything to do this season. But I think that perfectly kind of transitions us into our next topic in the halftime conversation.
Yeah, well, let's actually talk about this Bears games against Dallas. They won 31-14. But before we do that, let's remind everybody to follow and subscribe to us at the Halftime Pod on YouTube. We see that you are enjoying our content, enjoying our shorts, especially. We're starting to get more comments on a lot of our videos, full-length videos, so we need more interaction there. But as always, if you enjoy what we do, tell people about us and get them to like and subscribe to all of our videos and subscribe to the channel, as well as following me and Coach individually on our socials, where you can get communication with us about anything related to the Halftime Podcast or anything related to skills training and development for any of your young athletes, or if you want to talk to Coach about any of his AAU clubs and programs, you can follow Coach Conrad at Coach KDZ, and you can follow me, Coach Malcolm, at Coach M_got it. Again, for Coach Conrad, that's at Coach KDZ, and for me, Coach Malcolm, it's Coach M_got it.
Also,
all right.
last but not least, the Halftime Podcast, we have our merch up and running.
Yes.
Our link is in our bio, and if you use any one of these 3 codes, we will give them to you now. Halftime 5 gives you 5% off all your purchases. Halftime 15 gets you 15% off all purchases $70 or more. Halftime free gets you 10% off and free shipping on all purchases $100 or more. So go ahead, use those codes, get you some merch. All right, obviously, we showcased the merch. We got some more stuff. We'll be putting out screenshots and stuff like that on our socials this coming week so you guys could actually see. But yeah, our link is on our Instagram bio. Go ahead and check that out.
All right, Coach, let's get right back into pivoting into the halftime conversations with segment 2, which is the Bears winning big at home against the Dallas Cowboys. They showed America who's really America's team, I guess. I don't know about all that, but we discussed last week when we had our full Bears on expectations and discussions conversation. We talked about how the Bears needed a win. You said that this was a must-win game. I necessarily wasn't on that line of things, that it was a must-win game, but I did think that they needed to start making a turn and taking a turn on whether or not they were going to be at least competitive for the rest of this season.
Yeah.
Now, granted, you did say last week that the Dallas Cowboys pass defense is amongst the worst in the NFL. So if there is a game to take advantage of from Caleb and Ben Johnson in the passing game, that this would be the game that they needed to do it. And they went out and did exactly what you said. So with that respect, I do want to say that it is a big win, but it's still an asterisk to me just a little bit because of the fact of you played against Dallas and their vanilla defense of Matt Eberflus, which everybody in the Bears organization is so understood of, and Caleb Williams knows that defense inside and out because he played against it for a year and a half or whatever the case. Well, about a season.
Yeah.
And so there's already some familiarity behind what Eberflus likes to do. I still think Dallas is missing some pieces on defense. They don't have Micah Parsons, so that takes away a little bit of their pass rush. Preston Smith, who they just signed, was not active for that game. And the Bears did what they were supposed to do. You know, you don't go into any game worried about who's on the other side. You just go out there and take advantage of what you can take advantage of. So I like the fact that the Bears went out and did what they were supposed to do. But I guess my only concern is this just the result of playing Dallas, or is this the result of the Bears actually being able to be an offense that can output somewhere between 26 to 30 points per game?
Yeah, so I think it's a little bit of both. Like, I think, of course, you take this win with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because, of course, Dallas is, I believe, at this point, the worst pass defense in the league.
I knew they were at the bottom. I didn't know that they were the bottom.
Yeah, I think after this week, I'm pretty sure they hit rock bottom.
That they are the worst? Okay.
I will say there were some encouraging things. Of course, Dallas's pass rush isn't what it was with Micah, but regardless, it's still a whole defensive line of NFL players, right? They still got Kenny Clark on that line and things of that nature, and the Bears didn't give up any sacks. They were the number 1 ranked offensive line in Week 3. So that's encouraging. We haven't heard of that type of conversation from Chicago Bears football in quite some time.
In a long, long time.
Yeah,
probably since Olin Kreutz was our center.
Yeah, probably since those days. So very nice to see that, but also nice to see Caleb, I think, just playing on time.
Yes.
We saw him hit some nice throws, right? Of course, we had the creativeness of Ben Johnson hitting Luther Burden on that flea flicker.
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift almost messed up that entire play by throwing a floater, but Caleb had an absolute rocket. And of course, we like to talk about Caleb's deep ball accuracy, and people are trying to point to this game and be like, oh my God, like, no, don't have any concerns about that. You see what he's doing this game? I need to see it more consistently.
Yeah.
Like, this is why I'm trying to tell anybody I'm talking to that's a Bears fan, like, be happy with the win.
Yeah.
But relax.
Yeah. And that's what I meant by, like, that's why I was like trying to engage the conversation of like, is this something that you think is actually consistent, or is it just the competition we play?
Yeah, I think this is going to be what we're going to find this out in the next 4 games.
Okay,
like, I think,
got you. Yeah,
this game against Vegas could definitely be a trap game.
It could be.
Vegas is also amongst one of the worst pass defenses in the league. Of course, they have Max Crosby on the other side of the ball. And with Darnell Wright being out for Sunday's game, that's a big concern, of course.
But I'm not concerned because my boy Ozzie gets to play.
I don't think they're going to start him. I think they're starting Theo Benedette. Because well,
they did like him a lot in training camp too.
Exactly.
Yeah, they did. So they really did. I forgot about him. They really liked him.
I would not be surprised if he gets the start. I mean, we're missing a lot of starters, of course. Jalen Johnson's out for a considerable amount of time. He might be back.
He has no timetable.
Yeah, but if he gets surgery to where they say he might go, he might be back towards the end of the season.
Like week 12, week 13,
something like that. Yeah. So I mean, a little bit earlier than what they were projecting at first. Of course, T.J. Edwards is still out, which
Yes.
sucks.
Kyler Gordon's still out too.
He's questionable. He might play. I see them sitting him and not risking it.
Yeah.
Let him rest during the bye as well. Have him come back for that Washington game.
Yeah.
And then DeAndre Swift is also banged up. He's questionable for Sunday's game. So
Grady Jarrett.
Grady Jarrett is out.
Yeah,
so
he's
I mean,
out too.
we've got our team is banged up at the moment. So like, this is what I mean. This Vegas game is not as easy as I think people are trying to make it to be.
And Vegas has been competitive in a lot of games. They just haven't been able to win them.
Yeah,
I
think people got to understand when you have a head coach like Pete Carroll, you're always going to compete in these type of football games.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Bears haven't played well, like actually good against Vegas, against the Raiders in quite some time.
Yeah.
Like anytime we've played the Raiders, it's always been a dogfight. The offense is looking crap. There's always something going on the defensive end. So that's what I'm worried about going into Sunday. But I still expect Caleb and company to put some points up and to win this football game. How do I think we win this football game? I think it ends up being a shootout.
think so.
Yeah, I don't necessarily believe in our secondary at the moment or our pass rush. Although the Raiders' offensive line is ranked one of the worst in football at the moment. So if there's a game that this defensive line is going to show that they actually have some, some grit to them, it's this week.
That's something that I've talked about with our defensive line. We have one of our clips where I talked about how like our defensive line can look really masterful against bad offensive lines, but when we play average to above average offensive lines, our defensive line doesn't really make anything move. So
at the same time, we haven't seen that all season yet. Like we haven't seen a game where the defensive line actually shows out, right? Like we've played pretty solid offensive lines throughout these last 3 weeks. So I mean, this is the first week where you actually have a pretty depleted offensive line to go against. So I'm calling on Montez Sweat. I'm calling on Dio. I'm calling on Javon Dexter. It's time to make plays, you know, and they're going to need it. They're going to need to get to the quarterback so that the corners don't have to cover for as long. I think that's been the issue the past couple weeks. So I'm nervous going into this game. I still give the Bears a 65% chance to win this game.
Look at you. Your Vegas odds on the go?
Yes, especially since the game is in Vegas. It's only fitting. But, yeah, definitely a possible trap game for the Bears. Absolutely.
Yeah. Halftime sports bet. You heard him first. 65% chance of the Bears winning the game. We should really look into that. Maybe we can get our license.
In no way am I your betting advisor. This is not betting advice, so please do not take what I say very seriously.
Take it with a grain of bet. All right. Let's pivot. But speaking of quarterbacks, and let's stay on quarterbacks. Let's talk about how Caleb was honored this week with being the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. He went 19 for 28, 298 yards and 4 touchdowns. So, do you believe that Caleb Williams has completely turned the corner? Do you believe that there is still more to be seen? And how many more of these honors do you see in his future?
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to sit here and be delusional and say he's completely turned the corner. What I have been saying is that he's been showing growth week to week.
Yes.
And I think that's what the expectation is for that Bears fans should be setting on Caleb Williams this week or this year, is that we need to see growth week to week to week, right? At least be 1% better than we were yesterday type of thing. So I definitely saw that from Caleb from week 1 to week 2, and especially week 2 to week 3. Can we see it again from week 3 to week 4? I think is the big question. I believe we can. I think if he plays a similar type of game where he could get his feet set, the offensive line can protect. Because I will say a big deal of why we were able to throw the ball as great as we were able to, Pass Pro looked phenomenal in week 3. And hats off to those guys. Of course, like I said, Darno is out for this game, which is a big concern. But hopefully the rest of the offensive line could still show out and protect our guy, especially against a dynamic pass rusher and Max Crosby. But I think if Caleb has time, I think he'll still be able to deliver those throws on time. Again, I just need to see more growth from last week to this week. Do I think he has much more of these in the future? I do believe so. I think this would be one of those weeks to go back to back with that honor.
Hmm.
Especially considering I was saying that I think we win by shootout, right? I think it would be just both teams scoring a lot of points. So, and it won't be us running the ball. I think DeAndre Swift is going to have limited snaps. It's
Hmm.
going to be a lot of Cal Monungai. Maybe we might even see Roshan Johnson step onto the field. So I think it's going to be a lot of throwing. So I expect Rome Odunze to have himself a big game. Hopefully DJ Moore could become more involved in this game.
Okay.
I hope they could get him the ball. And I see Luther Burden also having another big game on top of last week. So
You know who we also forgot to mention is also going to be questionable or out for this game? Colston Loveland.
Colston Loveland, yeah,
Yeah.
and I wouldn't be surprised if they sat him as well, just so he has the bye week to rest as well.
Yeah.
I think a lot of what's going on with these injury reports is, yeah, they're marked as questionable. I think the only questionable guy that does play is DeAndre Swift because he's our lead back. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I don't know if they're that confident in Monungai and Roshan Johnson to lead the entire, the whole entire run game this next upcoming week. But I think all the other guys that are questionable, it's good. It means they're progressing, right? They're getting better with their injuries, but it would be the smart thing not to rush them back just for this type of game against Vegas. I think you sit them, let them rest throughout the bye, come back big against, a big game that is Washington. So that's just my view on it.
So I'll say this. I think for Caleb, I believe he's riding on a high. I think last week definitely did a lot for his confidence, for his self-confidence. I don't believe the monkey is completely taken off his back just yet.
Yeah.
And I need to see more from him and more responding to pressure. This week, he will be expected to repeat. Not in complete totality
Right,
of,
yeah.
19 for 28 and, those stats from last week. But we will be having our eye on whether or not this can be consistent. Has he turned into the quarterback that many projected he could become? And I think this is a good test to see whether or not he's consistent. Because the Vegas Raiders and Pete Carroll, they have film now on what an explosive Caleb output can look like against Dallas. Pete Carroll is not going to have the same type of defense flowing the way that Matt Eberflus did.
Oh, definitely not. Yeah.
It's not going to look like that. It's not going to be the same. So when you mentioned that this could be a trap game, I'm not trying to give away some of our predictions before because we have a segment for that, but
Sure.
I don't necessarily. I don't see this game going the way that the Dallas game went for Caleb, and it's not because I don't think it'll be because of the line. I don't think it'll be because of Ben Johnson. I still need to see from Caleb that he can hold into that pocket and that he can consistently take advantage. I still want to see more. I'm holding out. Of course I'm gonna hold out because have my feelings,
Of course,
and
yeah.
I'm gonna keep that, and I'm gonna keep that strong until proven otherwise. But I do want to see him do it. I really do want to see him as a Bears fan. I really want to see him flourish. So I'm hoping that against Vegas, he'll be able to duplicate a little bit of what he did last week. But we'll see. We'll see. I still got a question mark around Caleb.
Yeah, and I think that's perfectly reasonable to still have that question mark because, of course, yeah, you could look at the week 1 and week 2 performances and be like, well, he didn't really play that bad, right?
No, he didn't.
Like week 1 was probably his worst week throughout this whole
He could have
season.
did a lot of things better in week 1 and week 2,
Absolutely.
but he's not to blame or
Exactly,
nothing like that.
right. So I mean, again, we're talking about progression, right?
Yeah.
Week to week to week. I think he's gotten better week to week to week. And we just need to see that. We need to see him build on top of that. And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what you're getting at is it really does need to be that consistent growth. How much growth is it? I'm not sure, right? But it needs to be some type of growth. We can't take a step forward and then take 3 steps back.
Yeah.
That would be the worst thing going into this game, and then having to bye, right, where you can't even play, right? You're just practicing the entire week, and then you got to come back and play a very competitive team in the Commanders. So,
and I think that's the most important thing right now is that, like,
you need some momentum going into
that's what that's what I'm feeling. Like, you're gonna need this game to go well because Jaden Daniels is coming back.
Oh, for sure,
against the Bears.
I'm sure he probably could have come back.
Yeah,
this
but
week,
he's coming back to play against Chicago.
100%.
Yeah, he's coming back to play against Chicago because that is, again, that's going to be another statement game between both Caleb and Jaden.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and they're going to be linked to each other for the rest of their career, like a Peyton and Tom Brady type of thing, especially due to their success and being in the same conference and things like that. Because I see good things happening for both of these players and their respective franchises going forward.
Yeah.
And so, with that being said, he's going to need to play well against Vegas. Like I said, I'm not looking for him to duplicate exactly what he did against Dallas. So I want to make sure fans understand. I'm not asking for him to duplicate those exact same results. But what I am saying is that I don't need to walk away from this game given the same or feeling like I got the same vibes that I got from week 1 and week 2.
Yeah.
Where it was missing throws, not anticipating certain things, the pressure getting big and missing calls, missing deep ball throws, not having accuracy in the most prime moments. Because, like I said, I don't want to give it away, but I think this game is going to be a little bit closer and tougher than people anticipate.
Yeah.
But let's stay on quarterbacks. And let's move on from Caleb. Good job to Caleb. Let's see if he can continue to do this. As Bears fans, we definitely want this to keep going. But sticking on quarterbacks, let's move on to New York. The New York Giants have decided to officially bench Russell Wilson, and they have named Jaxson Dart the starter going forward. Now, this comes off the heels of potentially Russell Wilson having one of his most lackluster performances against Kansas City. However, he was one of the leading throwers in the NFL based upon pass yardage within the first couple of weeks of the NFL. So it wasn't as if Russell was completely stinking it up. I mean, they lost a tough one against Dallas. They lost a tough one in week 1. And then you play Kansas City, and it just doesn't go well. Nothing could really, materialize. The offense was really stagnant. The defense wasn't necessarily the greatest. It did as much as it could. Mm-hmm. But I think after a while, the engines kind of fell off on the defense, and they got a little tired and different things like that. Ebbs and flows of a football game when the offense isn't able to move the ball and the defense is out there much more than it needs to be. With that being said, though, do you think now was the time to insert Jaxson Dart into the starting position, or do you think the New York Giants let their fans make this decision for them?
No, I think this is absolutely not the right time to put Jaxson Dart into the lineup. Especially with who they're playing this next week. They're playing the Chargers.
Yeah.
I don't like that matchup for the Giants in general. I'd rather see Russell Wilson, a veteran quarterback, play that game, and a guy that's played against, Harbaugh many of times in his career.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, man. I think they rushed to this decision, and I think it's going to come back to bite them in the butt. I think they've done this many times before, where they're rushing their rookie quarterback into that starting position.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's going to be a similar thing with Jaxson Dart, man, and it's going to be a shame because we're going to be 2 years into this thing, in my opinion. We're going to be 2 years into the career of Jaxson Dart being like, did they waste their pick on them? Should they have gone? Should they have gone with Shedeur Sanders type of thing? So,
or should they just have waited and let him learn behind Russell Wilson and just kind of bite this year?
Which is my opinion. I feel like that's what they should have done, right? I mean, you gave Russell Wilson the money for a year.
And you still got Jameis Winston, by the way, just to throw that out there.
Right. So, I mean, like, let him just sit and learn. Like, I don't understand what's the rush with having him play. If you wanted him to play,
you should have had him go from week 1.
No, not even that. If you wanted him to play, like, midway through the season, why this week? Why not next week when they essentially have a bye and they play the New Orleans Saints? Because that's honestly every team's bye week this week is this season.
That is so disrespectful, but it's so true.
Unfortunately, it's so
That's
true.
so
Like
true.
the Seahawks just put up 44 points against them
Yeah.
last week, and then they only scored 20.
Had Sam Darnold out there looking like Joe Montana.
Absolutely. So I mean, this is what I mean. Like I feel like the timing of this is so just rushed. I feel like if they wanted to methodically do this, they play him against the Saints, or even then, like I I don't think they understand how tough their schedule is this year. Like
No, they have one of the toughest schedules in the NFL. I think they are number one. I think they're ranked number one. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like we're right around number 2.
Yeah,
like the Bears.
Yeah,
So
they're ranked number one as the toughest schedule.
like
I think so.
Their next couple games is the Chargers, Saints, Eagles, Broncos, Eagles, 49ers, Bears, Packers, Lions. That's who you want Jaxson Dart to play his first couple of career games with?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I guess it builds character, right? I guess it has him playing against really tough competitive teams. But I also believe in that, like, confidence is such a big thing. And if you put him in these games with a very lackluster offensive line, right? And, of course, you have Malik Neighbors. You don't have an efficient run game at all. You can't kill the kid's confidence in his first 4 weeks of his career. You got to give him time.
Look, I'm gonna put my conspiracy hat on right now.
All right, it's my favorite part of the show, man.
All right, Dayball and the GM.
Yeah,
the owner is ready to fire them.
Oh yeah, I'm surprised he didn't do it before this season.
The owner is ready to fire them. This kid Jaxson Dart is in there because they have to sink or swim with him right now. The owner is not finna take no more time to find out if these two guys are idiots or if they know what they're doing. Because they're 0-3. They brought in Russell Wilson. They have Jameis. They passed up on Shador when they easily could have drafted him.
Absolutely.
Or any other quarterback they could have drafted, but they passed up on Shador. They drafted Jaxson Dart. So if this is the guy that you said you believed in, and Russell is the old veteran that isn't doing anything much for us right now, we're 0-3, put that kid out there.
Mm-hmm.
Put him out there. Well, we don't think he's ready. I don't give a damn. I don't give a damn if you don't think he's ready. You drafted him. You say he was a first-round prospect. Why is he sitting on the bench? Put him out there now. And now they have to sink or swim with him. I think that's what's happening right now. Now, minus the fans who are in the stands screaming for Jaxson Dart, that also plays the thing for the owner because he's looking at money in business too. So on one side is money in business. The fans want to see the kid. They're going to pay to go watch him. We can't afford to lose fans. All right, cool. On the other side, from a football perspective, you guys passed up on quarterbacks. You guys paid Daniel Jones and told me and made me believe in that guy. Then you ended up trading him just to get his contract away. Now you draft this kid. Russell Wilson isn't doing well. Play him. And if he doesn't work out, you can find yourself somewhere to go at the end of the season. That's my belief. I think that's why this is happening.
Yeah, I don't think that's too far-fetched.
I think that's the only reason why it's happening. Because like you said, if there was any type of real strategy to potentially get this kid an opportunity to play this season or to even start, it would have been against New Orleans. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna really manage it and do it in a proper way, do it in a way that can try to line him up with some type of success and give him some confidence, it would be against the New Orleans Saints, a team that has looked pretty much like the G League football team.
Yeah.
So if that's what you're trying to do, if you're trying to line him up for success, you would have did it against the Saints. But the reason why it's happening now is because this is above them. This is a mandate that's bigger than the coach, bigger than the GM. This is not their call. And so we're going to find out. If Jaxson Dart is not the guy that can be the face of the franchise going forward, I'm not saying that his career in New York is in jeopardy, because I do think that because he is a young quarterback and I think he was drafted second round.
Yeah.
Because he is a second round prospect quarterback, even if the owner is not so attached to him, I think the owner is still going to give him a chance, but it just won't be with the same GM and head coach. if it doesn't work out this year. Like if Jaxson Dart can't prove and get the New York Giants to a 500 record or a little bit below that, maybe like something like 7-9 or something like that,
Yeah,
or
sure.
6-10 or something like that. If he can't do it and do anything like that, or 8-9 or something like, because it's 17 games.
17 games.
So
yeah.
8-9 or something like that. If he can't do something like that, 8-9 or 7-10 or something like, just to kind of show that there is some progress or some belief in this kid, then I think if he does that, then the owner will be like, fine, he can stay around. But y'all, this coach and GM thing, I may have to move on from y'all. Now, if he's a complete bust, I'm not sure he'll be still on the New York Giants roster next season, and I'm definitely sure that the coach and the GM will be gone. So I think this is mandated by the owner to see this kid now, because the coach and the GM, they're on the hot seat, and they're going to have to hitch their wagons to the success of this kid this season.
All right.
So that's what I think is going on. Other than that, you naming him the starter against the Chargers because you don't think you're getting everything you can from Russell. I mean, it ain't like he was playing super, super bad. It's one thing if Russell was just out there completely just thinking it up. There's a lot of things that the Giants aren't doing right. They're not finishing games well. The defense has some times where it's not being able to get teams off the field in crucial times. Against Dallas, they couldn't get Dallas off the field in crucial times when they needed the defense the most. The offense can't move the ball in crucial times when they need to move the ball to kind of secure a victory and secure a game. So it's a lot of things that's happening that's culminating in the Giants' losses. But to make it seem as if Russell is the problem and somehow inserting Jaxson Dart is going to change things, no, that's not the answer here. If Russell was completely stinking it up, then I would have been like, okay, this makes sense. Like Russell is just completely bad. Like he's not doing anything. But that's not necessarily, at least from my perspective.
Like I wonder how Giants fans feel, because I
think they're happy. They want the kid to play.
Yeah, like I've seen a couple of them on social media, and a lot of them are wanting this, of course.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's like kind of I feel like that's what any NFL like fan base would want.
We want to see the new shiny toy.
Let's just get him in. Like, why are we wasting our time with Russell Wilson? So I don't know. I'm with you. Like, this is definitely a rush. If the Giants weren't a dysfunctional franchise, then they would have waited to put him in against New Orleans. But we know the New York Giants are no longer the New York Football Giants. They're just New York Giants. That's just all they are. There ain't no football Giants.
You ever seen that movie, The Little Giants?
Yes.
That's who they are now.
Yeah, there we go.
They're the Little Giants. All right, let's pivot. Let's pivot to the NBA really quickly. October will be upon us in a little bit.
Oh, it's right around the corner, man. We're almost in NBA season.
October will be upon us, which means that preseason games for the NBA will be starting shortly, soon. I think we're like 3 weeks away from the first NBA preseason game, which means we'll be about a month and a half away from when the NBA season actually begins and starts. But news for the Houston Rockets is that Fred VanVleet, their starting point guard, has suffered an ACL injury and will be out for the season, according to the reports. Now, could that change? Maybe. Could rehab go really well and he could potentially come back if Houston has a playoff push? Sure. I believe that there's an opportunity for that. But with the trade for KD, the moving of Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, all of this hype and fanfare was around Houston being able to, make waves and do things in the Western Conference this season. Now with Fred VanVleet out of the picture, where does that leave the Rockets in your opinion? And then secondly, how should they pivot?
Yeah, I think it puts them in a tough position. I know they were definitely going to lean on Fred VanVleet a lot to be that point guard for them and create and also get his own buckets, right? And in times when KD's either off the floor or they can't get KD the ball, right? So, I mean,
can't get a 7-footer of the ball. It's crazy.
It is crazy, but we've seen it happen.
We have.
But I mean, of course, huge blow, and it sucks. I wish it wasn't the case. I'd love to see him play. I think he's a fun player to watch. But at this point, like I think your next course of action is I think Reed Shepard becomes your starting point guard. Is he ready for it?
No.
I don't think so. But I don't see who else you could
What
legitimately.
other point guards do they have on their depth chart?
I mean, like actual point guards, they have Aaron Holiday, they have J.D. Davison, whoever that is.
Aaron's not bad.
They have Josh Okogie, but he's a shooting guard.
Yeah, he's not
right?
a point guard.
So they won't have him run the point. So I mean, unless they have Amen Thompson run point guard, right?
Nah, they're not.
I mean, maybe that's something they do. I have no idea. Like this, with trading Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks, like now you've taken away the possibility of Jalen Green being your point guard and him handling the ball, and like that was your kind of backup option then if Fred VanVleet went down.
Yeah.
But now you don't have that option, and you really are just if you want an actual point guard to come in, step in, and play the position, it's Reed Shepard. Or other than that, then you play a tall lineup, right? You have a man run the one, which maybe that's the case. Like I don't think he is incapable of doing it. I think they can mold him into that type of guy, and I could see them wanting to do that because I feel like he already kind of had those opportunities even last season in that playoff run. I feel like they gave him the ball, of course, a lot in transition, but also just letting him set up the offense as well. I saw a lot of that as well, and
so
letting
if he
Jalen
runs
Green
the point,
play off the ball.
If he runs the point, who's the two now?
I mean, then if you have Amen at the one, you could then go either Josh Okogie at the two, or it's probably Josh Okogie at the two. You could go Dorian Finney-Smith at the three. You could go KD at the four, and then you have Şengün at the five.
Yeah, I'm not doing Dorian Finney-Smith at the three. You probably put Jabari in at three.
That's what I'm saying. Or you could do Jabari or KD, flip-flop them 3 or 4, and then Şengün as your five.
I'd probably leave KD at 4.
Well, I think regardless, Josh Okogie is probably your starting two at that point.
If you got Amen.
Okay,
so how about this? Let me throw this at you.
Okay.
What if you bring...
Don't say trade.
No, not a trade. Would the Houston Rockets be willing to bring Russell Westbrook to that team to be their point guard?
Yeah, let me tell you this. They're going to ask Kevin Durant. He's going to be like, no.
I don't know. No. I'm not for sure that he'll say no. And the reason why I think there could be a chance that Russell Westbrook could land himself in Houston. One, because of the taxes in Texas. That's number one. If I'm Russell Westbrook, that's very appealing. Number two, the thing that held Russell Westbrook and KD back from being able to flourish in OKC was their egos. Russell Westbrook wanted to fly and see how far he could go. KD was already taking off. And KD was in a space where he was just like, I need you to kind of understand that I'm already in the air. You'll get your shot when it's your time. And Russell was like, if I wait and hold for you to help you soar, I'll never really get my chance. So I have to fly just as much as you're flying.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think I'm just as great, or I think I have greatness in me too. I don't think I'm just somebody that can be your forever sidekick. And I think that was the thing that held OKC from being able to become the type of team that they could have been, was their two best players both wanted to see how great that they could be simultaneously. And while you can look at that and go, that would be awesome to have, it can lead to clashing depending on the personalities.
Of course.
They both have strong personalities, just in different ways. Russell Westbrook is more an extrovert with his ego and his bravado. And Kevin Durant is very inward with his ego and his bravado. Like, Kevin's not going to say it with his mouth, but his mannerism, his movements, his facial gestures, his body language is going to suggest, man, get out of here. I'm that guy.
Or his fingers when he posts
or his
right?
Twitter fingers. You had to get that in.
Of course.
And Russell is different. Russell's gonna talk. Russell's gonna be. He's gonna wear it on his sleeve. He's gonna let you know, like, I'm that dog. He's not gonna reserve it for his actions. He's gonna do it with his actions and his mouth. You know what I'm saying? So pause. But that's the type of thing that held those two guys back in OKC from being able to be the type of players and the type of team that could have won a championship. And now that they're older, they both won their MVPs. They both have their accolades. Russell Westbrook is the triple-double king. Kevin Durant has won 2 championships, 2 finals MVPs, but people have an asterisk on it because it was with Golden State.
Right, yeah.
I think now if there's any time that they could potentially make it work, it would be now.
Yeah.
It would be now. With the fact, like I said, with the fact that they've already gotten all of their individual success out of the way. Now they can come together and kind of finish what they started when they were younger basketball players and show the world exactly what people thought could happen with those two being a pair. And so I think there's room for that. There's space for that. There's an opportunity for that. But I do agree with you. It would have to take Kevin Durant signing off. And obviously it would take Russell Westbrook signing off. And it would have to be a meeting of the minds between those two and them coming together to say, hey, you've accomplished what you've accomplished. I've accomplished what I've accomplished. Everybody knows you're great. Everybody knows I'm great. Now, let's show them that we can be great together, which everybody thought we could be, but we didn't make it materialize. So, do you think there's space and opportunity in a realm where that potentiality could happen?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like in a point where Houston feels desperate.
Yeah.
'Cause I feel like they are desperate at this point, like to need a point guard, right? And I mean, there's still 2, I think, feasible free agent options they could go after. Seth Curry is also still a free agent at this time.
As your
Not
point?
really your point guard,
Yeah,
right? That you would
no.
want to bring in. Markelle Fultz is also a free agent. Now, is this the guy you bring in and maybe revitalize kind of what he could have been?
I would like him in Chicago.
Yeah,
to be honest
I
with
would
you.
love him too, but does he end up in Houston? Maybe that's the guy they look
I
at.
could see Ime liking him too.
I feel like it's honestly between Markelle and Russell to who eventually
Who will eventually land there?
yeah. And if that were to
If
even
that
happen,
happened, yeah.
unless Houston is comfortable enough with one of the 2 options
Yeah.
of either starting Reed Shepard or having a men play the
Or
one.
Aaron Holiday, they still have him too.
That as well. So I mean, I think those are your 2 options. I would not be okay. Let me not say that.
But let's
I
stick on
would
Russell.
be-
Do you think that's possible?
I would be surprised. I would be still surprised. Like, I think just the amount of tension and headbutting that they have had throughout the entire course of what's happened since OKC, like, I'd be surprised because it doesn't seem like they've made up since. Like,
Okay.
yeah, they're a little bit on better terms now than what they were when it first happened, but there's definitely still a lot of bad blood. Like, there's still a bad taste left in both of their mouths, I think. Maybe not so much in KD's, but in Russ. I mean, we know Russ is a very prideful person, right?
Yeah.
And he doesn't just let things go. So I'm sure that's still in the back of his mind if he were to eventually. I mean, Houston might reach out. KD might be okay with it. Is Russ actually okay with it, though?
So
know
you
what I
think
mean?
it'll be more a Russ thing than a KD thing?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if KD does eventually agree to it because I think he understands he needs as much talent around the team as possible. I mean, we've seen that with every single roster he's been with, that there needs to be talent on the team, right?
Yeah.
So I'm sure he would eventually come to terms with it. Would Russell come to terms with it, though? I'm not sure. I think it would be a big push that Houston would have to make. Some guarantees in the contract, something special would have to be in there to land him, or if they want to save the headache, you go with your 2 options on the roster, or you go with Markelle Fultz.
Okay. All right. Well, that was our pivot into the NBA. We look forward to when the season starts. Preseason, like I said, is around the corner.
Yeah, which actually, I mean, preseason, the first game starts October 2nd, so literally next week.
Oh, really? That's the first preseason game?
And the first NBA game is October 25th.
Why did I think that the NBA season didn't start until November?
Oh no, they always start around Halloween, before Halloween. So
whoa,
we're right there, man.
I
We're
really,
less than a
thought
month
that
away
they didn't
now.
start until the beginning of November.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
we're less
Okay,
than a
well,
month
they
away.
definitely need to make a decision at some point soon. Yeah. Yeah, we might find. That's crazy. We might find out some news faster than we think. Well,
Yeah.
okay, all right. Well, I did not know that. I thought the NBA season started like beginning of November. I don't know why I thought that. You know what it is? Shameless plug, because I got YouTube TV and I have games that's like recorded.
Uh-huh.
I think most of the games that I started watching or like rewatch, most of them have started in November. So I think that's the reason why I thought like the regular season started in November and not, like you said, at the end of October. So really, we're just a month out from the start of the regular season. It's not like a month and a few weeks.
And guess who's our first regular season game on opening night?
For the Bulls?
No.
Whoa.
For the NBA.
Who?
Houston OKC.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that be crazy if Russ landed with Houston?
Oh, yeah. You got to do that. You have to do that.
That'd be crazy.
You have to do that. Now, if that happens, Conspiracy Malcolm is all back. Oh, yeah. Conspiracy Malcolm is all the way back in if that happens. I promise you. Because that's just great NBA storyline and writing right there, baby.
That'd be old OKC versus new.
Oh, man.
Because Steven Adams is on the Rockets.
Steven Adams is on the Rockets, too. Oh, man. Yo, they got to make that happen. Yeah. NBA, make that happen. Just for the storyline. Just for the purposes of the storyline. I don't even care if it's a conspiracy theory or not. I don't care. That is phenomenal.
That'd be great.
You can't. Well, yeah. When people say you can't write things like this, you can.
Sure, you can.
You can. You can write things like this. But yeah, I need to see this happen. That would be absolutely fine. All right, let's pivot. Let's go ahead and finish up the show. Let's wrap it up with the halftime predictions.
Yes, sir.
Let's wrap it up with the halftime predictions. All right. So we know week 4 is coming. We have our slate of games, and once we're able to get a look at that and get those graphics in, then we'll be able to see exactly what games we have coming. So we already saw the Seahawks in Arizona play Thursday. We saw how that game materialized. We saw that it was, I guess, a close one towards the end. At the beginning, it wasn't so close. But Marvin Harrison Jr., I just got to give a quick shout out to him. It's a dog.
Yes.
Really, really good receiver. So sad that he's in Arizona because his career is going to be wasted there.
You could tell he don't want to be there.
But he doesn't, and he clearly doesn't. He's the receiver that I wish we would have drafted that year, but when he came out, but we didn't. But that's neither here neither there.
Yep.
But we saw Seahawks win that game, so let's keep going. We have Minnesota and Pittsburgh. Who do you have for that game, Coach?
Yeah, it's a London game.
Yeah, so that'll be early.
Yeah. I'm taking Minnesota in this one. I see
over Pittsburgh.
I see Carson Wentz and KOC just kind of railing off of what they did last week.
Man.
Also, this Pittsburgh defense has been very highly talked about before this season. They haven't came to play this entire season.
No, they haven't been great at all. They've actually been borderlining a disappointment.
I think in total, like if we were to take a look at it, they are on like the bottom half of the NFL as far as defense goes.
Yeah. So I won't say I disagree with you. I'm a believer in KOC. I have to give it to him. I'm a believer in him. And somehow, some way, if you give him a veteran quarterback that's been around for a little bit, he will figure it out. He will find a way to make that guy look like they should have been the MVP of the league 3 times. So I'm going to go with Minnesota too, but I think this is going to be a close one. But I'm going to go with Minnesota. Let's keep going. Washington and Atlanta. I got Washington. They say Kirk Cousins is not necessarily the starter, so I don't know if that means Michael Penix will be coming back again for Washington or if they're going to start Kirk. My belief is that they're going to continue to play Kirk only because there's a vacancy in Cincinnati right now, and maybe they could potentially get a trade done to try to get Kirk in Cincinnati to kind of finish that thing off. But we don't know for sure, but I know Cincinnati is looking out for a quarterback hard.
Yeah, I wouldn't be,
and I wouldn't be surprised. Right now, it could be a toss-up between Russell or Kirk. It could be a toss-up between Russell or Kirk. So we'll see. But for right now, I got Washington to win that game. Buffalo and New Orleans, they shouldn't even air this game.
Yeah,
this should be one of those games that get played on tape delay, and we just get the results during like a ESPN coverage show. Like, yeah, Buffalo and New Orleans played today, and Buffalo beat them 56-0. Like, they shouldn't even play this game or air it. But I got Buffalo for that one. How about you?
I'm taking Atlanta against Washington.
Okay.
I think.
Oh, man, I didn't ask you that.
Yeah,
my bad.
I think Marcus Mariota doesn't play as well as he did last week.
Okay.
And I think Michael Penix, gets
Bounces
the start.
back.
Yeah, and I think Bijan finally has that explosive fantasy game that everybody's looking for.
Okay.
And then, of course, Buffalo at home. I mean, it's already a tough place to play at, and it's essentially, like I said earlier, it's a bye week playing the Saints. So,
all right, Jaxson Dart gets his start against the Chargers. I got the Chargers.
Yeah, give me the Chargers. Justin Herbert's looked phenomenal this year, so let's go.
He's on an MVP pace.
He's on an MVP pace. He's in the conversation for sure.
Houston and Tennessee. Does Cam Ward get his first win against Houston?
Dude, I'm taking Cam Ward. I'm taking Cam Ward and the Tennessee Titans. I didn't take him last week, but I think if there's a game that they could actually have some decent offense
against the Texans.
It's against this Houston defense. Yeah,
okay.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna go with Houston only because I think CJ Stroud is gonna figure it out against the Tennessee Titans, but I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if Tennessee gets their first victory against this Houston Texans team that look like they may have. It looks like they may have jumped the curve before they were actually ready to jump it that first season with CJ Stroud. Yeah. Like, it looks like they kind of
premature.
Yeah, it looks like they were kind of premature. That's what it's starting to look like. All right, Cleveland and Detroit. Clearly, I got Cleveland. Just kidding. I got Detroit for this game, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a close one. Cleveland's defense is obviously formidable. I'm still not understanding why they're holding on to the whole Joe Flacco experience. But I think this might be the game where they have to get out of that. Because if Detroit shows up and plays like they can, Detroit is probably going to start putting belt to ass early. And then Cleveland may end up having to pivot. Or they might stick with it. Who knows? But I think this could be the game that they start making having conversations about making changes in the quarterback room.
Yeah, I'm taking Detroit in this one. I think they're going to come off that big win last week against the Baltimore Ravens and just kind of roll into this one.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's going to be some early struggles early on. I think, of course, they're preparing for Myles Garrett and that whole Cleveland defense, but until you get hit in the face, you don't know how it feels, right? So I think that's kind of going to be the wake-up call for Detroit. I think there's going to be some early mistakes, but I think eventually they'll rally in that second half. How Dan Campbell shows how capable they are of doing that, and I think they win this game comfortably.
All right, Carolina coming off a victory against Atlanta. They're playing New England this week. I don't know. This is a tough one because I really don't care for any of those two teams.
Me either.
But if I had to pick, I'm going to say I'm going to go with Carolina only because they're rolling in with some confidence.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. If you're a New England fan, you better hope you win this game because if you guys were praising Mike Vrabel this entire time on how he's going to come in and flip the culture like that, hasn't happened yet, bud. And Drake May does not look – he's been playing all right, but he hasn't played superb. I'm going to say that much. And the running game, very lackluster at the moment. So – I'm going to take New England just for the fact that they're at home. This should be a game that they play well in, but would not be surprised if Carolina won either, though.
Gotcha. All right, let's continue to move on. I got Tampa Bay against Philly. I think Tampa Bay pulls it out against Philadelphia. They have shown that in tough times, they only get tougher. And I don't think the Eagles have yet to be truly, truly tested. Their offense is still not where it needs to be. Jalen Hurts has not proved that he can be a top passer in this league this season. He hasn't shown that yet. The Eagles have been winning some games by the skin of their teeth, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have been winning games by the skin of their teeth. So I'm going to take Tampa to win this one in a close one. And I do not hope that I'm wrong because I would love to see Philly lose right now. Only because I can talk crap to some of my Philly family members and definitely hit up Coach Moo and be like, your concerns are still there with Jalen Hurts.
Oh, yeah, he even said that last week when they won on Facebook. So, I'm going to say this much, man. I said it last week. I'm going to say it again this week.
Until they lose.
Give me Philly until they lose, bro, because they have not proved it otherwise, man. I got to keep going. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
I ain't mad at you. All right, Indianapolis versus LA. I got the Rams. I think the Colts finally lose now.
Hey, this is another one of my things, man. You got to show me they could lose, man.
Okay.
They've been playing great football.
So you got Naptown,
and I
Indianapolis.
don't. And I also don't know if the Rams could stop Jonathan Taylor in that offensive line,
That's
man,
fair.
because they looked amazing
look good.
this entire season so far.
San Francisco and Jacksonville. This is a good one.
Yes.
This could be tough.
Brock Purdy is back this week, by the way. So it's not Mac Jones starting. It is Brock Purdy back in the lineup.
And I think that makes for a win for Jacksonville because I think you need to keep running with what's running. I think Brock Purdy needs a little bit more time. Mac Jones wasn't looking bad. He wasn't looking great.
Of course.
But he wasn't looking bad. So I'm going to go with Jacksonville. I think Trevor Lawrence comes into this game ready to make a statement about who he is and what he can be this season. And so I'm gonna go with Jacksonville, but it's gonna be a tough one. It's gonna be close.
I'm gonna go San Francisco. I think there's a lot of negative chemistry going on within that Jacksonville organization right now. I don't think Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen are seeing eye to eye right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think Brian Thomas Jr. is really struggling at the beginning of this season.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is a good game for San Francisco to kind of be like, hey, we're still San Francisco.
Yeah.
Like it's time for us to show out.
All right, for me, the game of the week, Baltimore and Kansas City. This is tough because I love Patrick Mahomes and I love Lamar Jackson.
I know who you're taking based on who you started in fantasy.
And usually, these games usually go very tough, high scoring. I'm going to go KC.
Okay.
I'm going to go KC. And the only reason why is because I think Baltimore needs some soul searching right now.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to have it early on. I think this is a game that helps them find their soul in a loss, in a tough one. I think this is a game that helps them find their soul to be the team that people think they can be and win a Super Bowl this year because Buffalo clearly looks like they're ready. They clearly look like this could be their year yet again. Kansas City is starting the season off rough, but they just came off a win against New York.
Yeah, so they're sitting at 1-2. Yeah.
Yep. And I think that they can walk into this game with a confidence. Baltimore is coming off a terrible loss, in my opinion. And I don't think they have yet turned the corner on being that Super Bowl type of team. They're a great team, but they're missing that little bit of we're here to kill you. We're not here to play with you at all. They're missing that. They're still having a little bit too much fun out there.
Okay.
And I think this is the game yet again to make them realize like we're still not good enough to beat Kansas City. And until you can do that, then you can potentially be a Super Bowl contending team for real. So I think I'm going to take KC for this, but I'm taking KC because this is the game that's going to get the Baltimore Ravens in shape.
Yeah, I'm going to put it as simple as this. I'm taking the owner of the Baltimore Ravens franchise, Patrick Mahomes. He's going to show why he still owns them, and I don't remember the last time when they lost against Baltimore.
Yeah.
I feel like every year they've beat them so far. So yeah, give me KC.
All right.
KC.
All right, to our other game of the week for us as Chicago Bears fans, we have the Bears against the Raiders. And as always, we want to remind everybody that when you are watching the Bears game, make sure you post and upload or tag us in videos where you give your halftime prediction score. If you are right about the halftime prediction score, then we will be giving you a $50 gift card. Again, post us, tag us, post it to your story, post it to your page, just tag us in it and let us know what your halftime prediction will be for this game between the Bears and the Vegas Raiders at halftime. And the scores have to be right. Can be just around the scores, but if you are accurate and right, then you will win a $50 gift card from us from the halftime. My prediction for the score at halftime between the Bears and the Raiders, give me 14 Bears, 7 Raiders, and the Raiders win this game 17-14 against the Bears.
All right, I've got my halftime score being 17-7, Chicago. And then I've got the Bears winning the game 28-24.
All right. Moving on. Green Bay and Dallas. This is a Sunday night game. I don't think Green Bay bounces back. I know everybody wants Michael Parsons to have a great game, but I think Dallas is going to keep him under wraps. I got Dallas.
All right. I've got Green Bay. I've got Micah Parsons going for 5 sacks.
Oh yeah, he's gonna be heated. He's gonna be heated.
That's what I mean. I think he's gonna come
Yeah.
back in AT&T Stadium and just ball
And just
out.
go crazy.
Yeah.
Okay.
So give me Green Bay.
All right, 2 Monday night games.
They're both terrible.
They're both
They're both terrible.
Well, it all depends. If Justin is back against the Miami Dolphins,
sucks.
Miami sucks. But I would like to see Justin. I'm just a fan of Justin.
Sure, yeah.
So if Justin comes back, then that would be a great game to watch. Which I hope he is back. But we got the Jets in Miami. I got the Jets for that one.
I'm gonna take the Jets as well.
And then we have Broncos and Cincinnati. Cincinnati has no quarterback, so I'm gonna go with Denver for that one.
I'm going with Denver as well. I think Denver's been pretty blessed with who they played so far, and I don't think they make the playoffs. To be honest
All right, Coach. That's been our halftime predictions as well, Coach. What episode is this again?
Episode 51.
This is episode 51 of season 2 of the Halftime Podcast. That's crazy. We are in season 2,
yes,
Coach.
sir.
Imagine that when we started this, when we were just sitting and trying to figure this thing out, we have literally gotten to a point that we are in our 2nd season. I feel like we got to deal with like Stars or like HBO or something right now. ESPN, where you at? Where you at, man? We're here. We're waiting for you guys. But we want to continue to remind everybody to, again, follow us on YouTube at the Halftime Pod. If you like what we're doing, if you like how we put things together, you enjoy our show, tell everybody you know about it. Tell your friends, tell your family, share it, share our posts, share our social accounts. Follow us on YouTube. Click that subscribe button, as well as following me and Coach on our individual socials. You can follow me, Coach Malcolm, at Coach M_Got It. You can follow Coach Conrad at Coach KDZ. Also, be reminded again that we have halftime merch out and live and ready to go for your purchases. You can use any of our halftime codes, discount codes, halftime 5 for 5% off, halftime 15 for 15% off anything over $70, and then halftime free for anything that is above $100, and you get free shipping as well. So yeah, follow us, stay in tune. Everybody that's a part of the family, we love and appreciate all of your support, and we hope that we can continue to give you the best sports coverage on all digital platforms. Anything you want to say, Coach, before we let them go?
Absolutely. You said it all, man. So I ain't got nothing to add. Thank you guys for watching again. Thank you for tuning in on all of our DSPs, Spotify, Amazon,
Yes,
Apple Podcasts. Keep tuning in. We appreciate you guys, and we'll be seeing you, man.
Yep. And as always, you know how we sign out. It's C-Red and bear down, baby.